Alright, hello everyone. My name is Disc, and in this video we're looking at a 25 upper Karazhan. We are Fortified, Sanguine, and Grievous, and this is pre-patch. Right off the bat, I've been sick all week, so I might sound a little stuffy. I'm sorry about that, but we have a lot of changes, and there was my talent tree. You can go back and pause it if you'd like. And funny enough, when I watched this back, I noticed right there I had unspent talent points. I did this whole key without being fully built out, so that's a rip. But I think we can still talk about a lot of the changes. I hope I can highlight them all in one video. We'll see how that goes. But I am playing mind games. The way you want to think about your talents is you only have so many points to spend, and you pretty much want to spend them for DPS spells. So like I would really love Power Word Life, but that's a talent point that's not going to deal damage. So I also am not running not running Mass Dispel right now. I think in this key it almost proved to be a problem, so it is a little bit of a gamble. I do think it's something I'll definitely spec into when I get a couple more points. Yeah, for an upper Karazhan, really the only bottleneck I think is Medivh, and that is completely out of your hands as a healer. But we do it pretty alright here. We have Schism, which is a little bit longer now. That's great. I'm running Divine Star. I'm recognizing it's your best spell as an opener. You need to get that spell rolling because it's pretty valuable, and you don't really need it with Schism, so I usually Divine Star then Schism. Also our dots spread to one more enemy with Penance. So another good opener is dot followed by Penance. I think I try and do that.
3, 2, 1.
And Omni CD is broken right now, so that's really sad. I feel like I'm blindly throwing my PIs. Really need that add-on back. But off the top, I'm thinking Warlock or Monk are going to be getting my PIs. And first, a little bit of combat here. We want to get all of our spells rolling. Also, I had to switch to Plater. Actually, I think I really like it. Coming from KUI, I do think KUI was just better, but Plater is nice too. So now that both enemies are up here, I can't really see anyone's spells, but I PI'd the lock, and this is a double cooldown just to get them rolling. So Shadow Fiend, Schism, Mind Games, Boon, Blast, Nova Nova Blast, trying to get as much DPS as possible. And right here's where we kind of get in trouble without Mass Dispel in our book. You can replay that to see what exactly happened. But I dispelled his dot immediately after he was slept. So, could have been bad. And put the group in kind of a bind there, but I reached for Rapture, so we were a little bit safer than it looked. Barrier would have been a fair play too, but Rapture was just a little bit more safe to put those caps on everybody. And again, I'm using Grid 2 to monitor my absorb values. Really easy to keep fresh crit shields up. And with this guy, you can replay it too if you want to see what happened, but you really need to watch out for his Force Blade. I watch for that cast, and then I throw an external But we did double up. The tank did something as well. But the front end of that can hurt, so you can barrier, you can paint up, maybe just a rapture or a shield. So we have renews. That's kind of our replacement for shield, but I actually really like it. So renews instead of shields. Shields is more of a specialty atonement. And I'm feathering for the tank just to help him position. Fade on the rip. Divine Star. Atonement's out. Schism Boon. Blast Radiance Blast. This is a spicy pull. I'm just going to play extra defensive with that Radiance in the middle. Always Divine Star out of Boon. Good to get that rolling again. And now without Mind Seer, this is a little different. I also like it. Our AoE spell is Holy Nova. Excuse me, that's my cold. So when you have nothing else and there's a lot of enemies up like that, Holy Nova. So now we're down to the 4 big guys. Always following your spectrometer. Schism, Mind Games, and then just unload. Get a double death in the execute range on Schism. Feels great. I'm still getting a hang of the new spells and my slightly different keybinds, but overall, I not only think the spec feels stronger, more equipped, it feels like really good too. And if you get the distinction I'm trying to make, it's a good one. And right there, I think I missed the call, but we have time for one more Shadow Fiend before boss, or before we need it on boss. So I rolled it there too. I think it was before my Schism or something, but yeah. Rolled it there. There was plenty of time to spare, and about a third of his cooldown is already recouped. So here we have Curator. We definitely want to drop Schism early before the evocation, and that's really the only thing I'm tracking on bigwigs. So here's our first ad. Getting some atonements out. Schism. DPS. And always want to use penance to your advantage. You can really maximize your HPS by spreading your dot with it. And with the floor mechanic, you kind of got to step wide, but then you can inch back over towards it just to manage the floor damage. So about 30 seconds to evocation. Definitely want to keep atonements out, keep hots rolling on everybody. Evocation in 10. Refreshing everyone's health. And I'm blindly going to cast PI on the lock. Schism, Mind Games, Boon, Blast Nova, Blast Nova. So anytime we have PI, we get that preferred rotation, the back and forth. Then I stack up on our line in the back. I Radiance a little early on the damage, but that's okay. It put atonements out before the move. And right after a move is always the best time to use barrier. Getting my dots out. Spreading my dot with penance. I don't know if I did any here, but you can always pre-cast a feather on yourself just to help you get out of the way. And I backtracked a little, but that's fine. The monk got ate up. But we have quite a while to go until evocation. I am getting low on mana. This is a great time for Shadow Fiend. Keeping my dots rolling. Keeping atonements out. And monk died again. I think he was off camera, and arguably I could have helped out better there, maybe with just some flash heals. It might have been Grievous, it might have been Rot, I don't know. Defensive penance into myself, I just really needed to live. And this is where I took a little bit of a gamble and it bit me in the ass. But I was trying to get him down before the AoE. And I pumped a double death there. And it wasn't enough. But thankfully, the boss was pretty much dead. If I weren't gambling, the much better play there is just basically reserve Rapture for that moment. Not the first one, but the second one. Coming out of Evocation the second time hurts more, and you can pre-Rapture the group, and it makes that a breeze. And here's a little trick I discovered literally just now. But you can levitate over, cancel aura. I feathered myself first, jump levitate, and then cancel aura levitate. And we have a while until we need boon again, especially with this trek. So Schism, Mind Games boon, Blast, Nova Nova Blast. Just trying to put everything on cooldown. Grip that monk over for sport. And that guy's good. So we have a minute and a half till boon. We don't necessarily need boon at the rip on the boss, so it's fine. I fade there to reduce my aggro range to sneak by that guy. And Schism Mind Games. Keep an eye on him behind me. Just pumping. I should have schismed death there. Didn't. Sneak by this guy. So in Viz 1, flawless. So I will say, about 100% of my keys fail in Viz. I don't know what it is about it, but I think it's the easiest 10 seconds of the game. You don't do anything except hold W, like from an objective standpoint. Okay, anyway, Medivh. I throw a Mind Soothe for sport. And this boss, not too hard, but it does demand you think on the fly. Anyway, our monk has queued, so I PI him. And we have plenty of time for one round of Schism here. Schism Mind Games. And then just pump. And we're holding all of our spells for the focused power. And I actually forget which one's first, so let's see. Birds. Okay, so I open with Atonements, and then I go into Barrier. But watch, I don't cast the Barrier until they begin casting their Arcane Bolts. So there is a slight delay in damage there, and you can maximize on Barrier with a small delay. And then you have got to boon here as well, so Schism boon, Blast, Nova Nova Blast. And I haven't quite figured it out yet, but my Eruption always misses. I think the better play might be to go to target 3 and let everyone else beat up target 2. I'm not sure if my damage is negligible enough or not. But missing the Eruption hurts a little bit. Okay, so anyway, we have plenty of time for one round of Schism here. So cast it on the bat. And just pump as much DPS as possible. Trying to keep the tank atoned. Focus power in 5. Winter. So even here you have time for another Schism, so go ahead and roll that. And you can, I have done it before, Oh wow, I got too carried away. DPS, this guy died. So partially a missed kick. I probably also could have saved him with a Rapture spam. But what I was saying is you can get casts off in between the winter damage if you play it right. Okay, another one went off while I was battle resing. Makes it really hard. Here comes Wreath. Always want to precast Fiend. I wall, paints up the tank. Better play would be paints up yourself with wall, but the tank got really low there all of a sudden. And boss down. So I think this is probably like a mechanics coding error, but that Flame Wreath I think should disappear when boss dies. But yep, just take note, if you have a Flame Wreath, don't run away from your healer. It will kill you on this travel. So, yep. So pretty clean so far. Looking at the overall DPS, I'm at 8.1. I am noticing Disc is doing a lot more damage, which I love. And I think I've heard through the grapevine that we're about to get more damage. I'm really not the type player where I read ahead, so to speak. I don't care about the beta. I've not even read about Dragonflight. I've not even purchased it yet, to be honest. So I just like playing it in the moment, and I think pre-patch is going really well. I'm interested to see how things feel without Boon. Yeah, we'll see. That was a rip there. Fade to hide from the rat. But it's always better if you're going to jump off a platform like that to feather first, because that speed will carry all the way through your travel. I traveled slowly there. And always watch out for rats here. There's one that patrols a little bit further than the rest, so always hug the wall. And I think I save us from a rat pull. Yep. So I gripped that Warlock out of the way. That one big rat was coming right towards him and gripped him. The rat probably would have killed him instantly. It might have killed others, and it would have been a major time sink. So that grip right there was hello pro, if I do say so. Okay, boss worm, and we play it regular, which I'm a pro of just playing it regular for sport. It's not that bad. But anyway, here we go. PI on the monk. And the only thing I track with bigwigs here is this energy discharge. It's the zap, the AoE zap. So for the first one is Boon, Irradiance, Schism, Mind Games, Boon. And with PI, we have Blast Nova, Blast Nova. I just want to get as much value there as possible. And I don't bother tracking this mechanic with the orbs. I feel like it's very visual. There's no reason I need to track that with my timers. I use the timers just for this discharge. And people were spiking there, so it threw off my rhythm just a little. But that's a Shadow Fiend Schism round. Usually Shadow Fiend is a precast, but I had to spot heal and it was a post cast there. And I'm probably going to have to really get used to it, but I'm noticing I miss Mind Games there. But per energy discharge, we get one Schism, so always use a Schism after. And this was my Rapture round. Health was starting to get a little bit low. Rapture, grid 2 to track my absorbed values. And during Schism, I just pump as hard as I can. Here come orbs. So the name of the game is collect 1 or 2. I wouldn't go more than that as a healer. And then you take it to the pool to drop it. So anyway, this round is Barrier. And the monk is down. I could have laid the barrier possibly in a better position, but he was not in the barrier for the discharge. And when you go into the pool to drop your debuff, it's kind of an in and out motion. If you replay that, he did like a fucking swan dive in and just tanked it to the face and died. And here comes our final boon with PI. Blast, Schism, blast, mind games, blast, death, blast, nova, blast, nova. And you can blast weave like that to really maximize your DPS. And worm dead. Not the best example. I think this is my least comfortable dungeon. I'm still getting used to it, but anyway, moving on. It was fine. Open with dots. Spread 2 dots with a penance. Always get Divine Star rolling early. And here we have Schism and Holy Nova. Holy Nova, Holy Nova. So I'm anticipating AoE damage. Always rolling Divine Star. Holy Nova in the interim. Yikes. So Sanguine and those bombs about ate me up. Thankfully, they didn't. I've not really read much about it, so if anyone has input on this, is Holy Nova our replacement now for Seer? I think that's what it is. So yeah, let me know. Open with Star, spread dot with Penance, and that one didn't spread 2 like it's supposed to. I'm not exactly sure how that works. Schism, Mind Games, Star for the AoE, Shadow or Death. Holy Nova, Holy Nova. And this definitely could have been a bigger cooldown dump for me. We have a long trek ahead of us before we need Shadow Fiend again. Even though it only came up mid-pull, I should have cast that thing immediately. Doubled up with the boon there. But it's okay. Rapture would be another really great spell to use here if you want to play defensively. But I like to play offensively. So, didn't use it. So Rapture, even more powerful now that it's a 15-second buff. It's like, it's actually so good. But the only thing about Rapture is it is a non-offensive spell. It's 15 seconds where you're not doing damage. And name of the game with Discipline is to sting. So, a really good combo for Invis. Okay, good. Yeah, you can always lead with Fade to kind of extend your Invis a little on the front end. Grip that guy for safety. And right there we had a Shroud, but I was anticipating it not being quite long enough. So I was hovering on my potion, cast a potion late. So the way this goes is you gotta kill anything except the king. It'll make him vulnerable. So there's PI on the monk. Really loving the double PI. Great synergy with boon. And that guy, I don't know what happened to him. So we switched. I'd have to replay it to be honest. I really have no idea what happened there. Was I on the wrong target? It's very possible. So this knight. Oh yeah, things are wonk. The wolf was called the knight. So I don't know what happened. But king is now vulnerable. Double cooldown dump. Shadow Fiend, Schism, Mind Games, Boon, Blast, Nova. Blast. Oh my god. Okay, I don't have enough haste to do that. So Blast, Nova, Nova, Blast, Nova, Nova, Blast. Woof. Okay. So he is now buffed again. We can't hurt him. We go to this knight that's a wolf. Yeah, look at that. So thankfully it didn't hit me, but the ground graphic didn't even show. So this thing was a little bit bugged. Killed 2 of our allies. And I would try and res them, but I don't think you can. I think only mass res works in here because of, I don't know why. But also with the boss next, it's better to hold a battle res. And because this is game over at this point, check, mate. I was about to say pun intended, but it's very literal. Just pumping my spells. It's weird how this has evolved over the years. If anyone remembers the chess event from good old Karazhan back in the day, it was not like this. Okay, so in all honesty, I probably should have booned there. It came up very late, but I might have been able to fit one more in. Not sure. Those renews are nice, but Grievous is tearing them up. So it's really nice when you have a long way to go like this. I can body and soul myself, followed by a feather. It kind of gives you a little bit more mobility. You can go back and forth like that, like endlessly. Okay, we're doing pretty good. We have over 10 minutes. Refreshing my food buff just because I want to do my best. And I'm looking at my files. I really need to call my steward. I only have one left. I'm not sure if I actually noticed this or not. So on the rip, just want to burn your cooldowns. Pump as much DPS as possible. And this time I give the PI to the rogue. Questionable, but I noticed on the overall meters he was standing out a lot. So I tried it. So Chaotic Shadows on me. Shield, renew, run out and dispel. And you want to be standing still when you dispel. You'll see why later. And then this, I had a couple oopsies here, but let's... Okay, yeah, he's doing the frontal. My camera, yeah, so, ouch. But when the Chaotic Shadows goes off, I'm pretty sure you want to be standing still. Although on that one, it looked like I had a little movement, and I was fine. Like, I thought there was a little bit of leeway when you're the target. But I'm not quite sure how it operates. Start with a body and soul. Just waiting, I was a little bit behind. You really have to be careful here to thread the needle. Yeah, and you'll see the Warlock there just didn't even care. We have no battle res because I died. But Shadow Fiend Schism, Mind Games, Pump. Yeah, you have to really be careful there. I'm not quite sure the ground effect, like the area of effect of the ground effect. I always try and give those green lasers just a little bit more room. And being super aware of the frontal. With my bigwigs, I think that's the only spell I'm tracking. Mainly because it's the only thing I want an audible warning for. Everything else I can see it. I just want an audible for the frontal. And you'll see I even missed it there once. Okay, so anyway, on the rip, as our opener, we fade. Getting all my dots out. I want to target the boss, PI the monk, Schism, boon. Have to really be careful of ground damage, but I'm favoring Nova here just to get the stacks. And I cancel Aura boon there a little bit early, just to make sure the eruption hit the full group. I think I only canceled like 2 globals early, but it was the right play. And this is a little tricky. So in hindsight, I think my own ball killed me, but when the rogue cloaked his off, it was a little bit risky. I would say you let the healer manage those dispels. When the rogue took care of his own, we had 2 at once. When I think the better play is just have 1 dispel quickly and then let the other 2 fade off. But anyway, not the best finish, but we certainly managed. It was a very good run, and that was 2,800 for me, so that feels really good. I got 17 points. That's crazy. But I'm really, really liking the spec right now. I'm interested to see how it feels in Dragonflight. I've not really thought about Dragonflight too much, but I am kind of getting excited for it. I hear people are liking Discipline, so that's great, and I'm really loving the way this feels. I feel really strong. My overall DPS was 7.5, and I've played quite a few keys this week, more than quite a few, just trying to get adapted to the new keybinds and the new UI, but I've tried to bring it back to what I'm more familiar with, and I feel like I've segued in pretty easily. Well, actually, I take that back. It was hard as hell. Fixed all my add-ons and UI and everything, but I finally got it back. There's my DPS profile if you wanted to look at it. And until next time, guys, Disc.